Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for joining me on the Q.A.C. team podcast this afternoon. Let's go ahead and get started and tell our audience who you are and what you do.
My name is Megan Claire Murphy. I'm a 39-year-old actress currently living in a small town in southeastern Alabama.
Nice.
I've lived here most of my life. I was born and raised here, except for the 6 years that I lived in New York City. From 2012 to 2018, I lived there. Um, Anyway, I've been pursuing acting for about 20 years now. I got my college degree in acting. I got a bachelor's degree in theater. And I moved to New York City in 2012. And I didn't come as far as I dreamed that I would. Like, I had dreams that I was like, I'm going to be on Broadway within a year. And
Yeah.
that didn't happen. But I did get to perform sketch comedy at an off-Broadway theater, and I got to do some off-Broadway children's plays. I did Cinderella and the Wizard of Oz. Anyway, skipping ahead, I moved back
Very
home to
cool.
Alabama in 2018 for a lot of reasons, but basically just because I was experiencing burnout and I just needed a break and come home and rest for my mental health. So I decided to do that. And then the pandemic, excuse me, and then the pandemic happened, and I stayed here in Alabama a little bit longer, and now I'm still here. But last year, I decided to take things into my own hands as far as my career goes, and I decided to create my own show. So it's called the Aunt Nae Nae Show. It's a variety show for kids ages around 8 years old and younger. It has songs, stories, jokes, educational content, and more. And I've been working on that for about a year and a half now, and it's going really well. Um, I I put in the beginning it was just me working by myself with like my mom or dad holding my iPad as the camera. And then the 20th video that I made got over 54,000 views on YouTube all of a sudden. I still don't know how it happened, but after that, after that, I started working with two producers. So I'm working with two guys named Hugo and Kevin, who are my producers, and they are helping me to make the Aunt Nae Nae show even bigger and better from now on than it already was slash is.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
rambling. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah. It's interesting, as I watch some of your shows and, I couldn't wait to get this podcast going so I could hear your story to find out, how you went from, just doing New York and Broadway and doing whatever you were doing and coming out to
No,
Alabama and
not
doing
Broadway.
the show. No.
I was never on Broadway. I want to make sure everybody knows that.
Oh, well, New York is usually big for Broadway. That's usually what people do to go to New York. So, so tell us a little bit. Why did you decide to be a business owner? Tell us about how you got started with this.
Um, well, it was inspired by my 7-year-old nephew who calls me Aunt Nae Nae.
Oh, okay.
And he lives in a different state than I do. And so we used to talk on FaceTime a lot. And one day I just started doing this thing. I was like, it's the Aunt Nae Nae Show. Hey! And I just started saying silly things and doing funny stuff, just entertaining my nephew over FaceTime.
Yeah.
And then the next time we talked, which was like a week later, he was like, Aunt Nae Nae, do the Aunt Nae Nae show again. And so I was just entertaining my nephew, just playing games with my nephew over FaceTime. Anyway, that went on for a couple of months. And then I had the epiphany like, hey, why don't I make this into an actual show? And I
Yeah.
know all of these songs that I learned from Girl Scout camp. So, because I was a Girl Scout camp counselor for many
Hmm.
years. And so I said, why don't I just sing one of those songs and make a video of it and put it on YouTube and see what happens?
Yeah.
And so I did. And it did okay. It got a modest amount of views at first, but I thought, well, this is fun. Like, I'll keep doing it. Like, I was just doing it just for fun. And then, like I said before, one of my videos got over 54,000 views. And,
That's amazing.
you know what? I already told you what happened after that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And 54,000 views. That's an accomplishment. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just, for the total number of views on my YouTube channel, we just hit 225,000 today views.
Congratulations.
Mm,
That's very, very
thank you.
good. Yeah, you're very welcome. So I guess your nephew was your inspiration, right? Because my next question would be, why did you
Yeah,
choose your industry? So,
because I also am Aunt Nae Nae in real
mhm,
life.
right. Yeah, that's the thing, right? So the next question was going to be, so tell us, why did you choose your industry? So, tell us a bit more about, how it all came about with, your nephew and Aunt Nene and put it all together for us.
Well, um, how I decided to become an actor, I'd always, even from a very young age, like my mom said, I started to sing because I also sing. My mom said I started to sing pretty much as soon as I could talk when I was like 2 years old. I would just go around the house singing all the time when
Wow.
I was a kid, and I still do that sometimes.
Hmm.
Anyway, um, so I always knew that performing and singing and like playing pretend and putting on little plays, and I used to put on little plays in front of my parents when I was a kid. So I always knew that it was something that I enjoyed doing. And then when I got to high school, I was in the high school theater group and I did the plays in high school. And then when it was time to decide what my major was going to be for college, I was undecided. I was an undecided major for the first 2 years of college. I went to a junior college here in Alabama, and I was in the show choir during those first 2 years of college. And one day I just decided, this theater thing, this acting and performing thing is no longer just an extracurricular activity for me. Like, I realized that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, good job too to stick into what you feel is right and that you want to do for yourself. It takes a lot, for us to really follow what we feel we want to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And so I got my bachelor's degree in acting from okay, I got a theater scholarship. And so I went to college and majored in theater, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree. And then, you know the rest. I already told you what happened after that. I
Yeah,
moved to New York, and then skip ahead a little bit. I created my own show.
yeah. So, and let's move to the next question. And getting all this together, you got this great idea. You were in front of your nephew. You're having fun. You went to college. You're moving along with this. This is what you want to do. So let's talk about some of the challenges that you face with putting this all together.
You mean the Aunt Nae Nae Show?
Yeah, like when you had this, you started to get the idea of you want to do the show. Tell us some of the challenges that you faced creating this.
Um, well, for one thing, I didn't have much of a budget. We're a low budget production, so I've just had to use whatever equipment that I had, which in the beginning when I first started doing it, I was just using my iPad with my mom or dad holding my iPad as the camera. Now I have an iPhone that I use for my primary camera. But they're really well, one of the challenges that we experienced last year was the SAG-AFTRA strike.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA, so I decided to take a hiatus for the Aunt Nae Nae Show
Mhm.
during the strike. And so I didn't do anything with the Aunt Nae Nae Show for like how long did it last? Like 6 months last year?
Like
Seems like
six
it was,
months.
yeah. But this year, as soon as the strike was over, me and my producers, by that time, I had started working with the Kevin and Hugo, who are my producers now, and we got right to work after the strike was over.
Mhm.
And yeah, so there haven't really been any knock on wood major challenges other than that. Sometimes it's hard for me to come up with ideas for what we should do on this show, but
Mhm.
I'm lucky that I have my producers who can help me with those sort of things now. So it's really been smooth sailing. I hope it stays this way.
That's great. That's something for for that's something we all want, especially me, with what I'm working on with my show. And it's not that I don't have ideas, it's just that, with low budget, trying to get things done. The challenge is
Mhm.
the time, the recording, the editing, it's so much that's
Yes.
going on, that those are the major challenges, and low budget, you know, finding the money to just make it happen.
Yeah.
That's good that you don't have a lot of challenges. I'm kudos to you for just going
Thank
right
you.
through it and making it happen, right?
Well, you mentioned finding the time. I don't have a day job right now, and I don't have any kids of my own or a family. I'm not married,
Mhm,
so it's just me living with my living at home,
mhm.
and so I've got a lot of time. So finding enough time has not really been for me personally not really an issue.
That's
This
great.
is yes,
Kudos to
I'm
you.
just doing the Aunt Nae Nae show full time basically.
That's great. Good for you. Glad to
Mm.
hear it. So what are some of the expectations for you with this business in the next year or two? Where do you see yourself?
In the next year or two, we hope to get the Aunt Nae Nae show, get my YouTube channel monetized so I can start making a modest income from the Aunt Nae Nae show. Because
Mhm.
right now we haven't quite met the requirements on YouTube for monetization. I have 635 subscribers, but you also have to have either 3 million total views or 3,000 total watch hours. And I haven't quite met either of those two requirements yet. I've met the subscriber requirements, but not the other one.
Right.
But the big lifetime dream would be to have a hit show on a network like PBS, like
Yeah.
the Mr. Rogers show or even Sesame Street.
Yeah. That would be
Like
good.
I think we're going to go if I could choose any network for the Aunt Nene show to be on, I think I would choose PBS
Nice.
because that's kind of the kind of show that we're trying to make. Like,
Mhm.
I wanted to create something that was good and wholesome for kids' minds, something that would help children learn new things by educational content, but also entertain them in the process.
Yeah.
But I didn't wanna be like all those other, what I like to call junk TV kid shows that's out there on TV for kids now. I
Sure.
think we're gonna go more of a different route
Good
and
for
try to
you.
emulate the Mister Rogers Show is my number one influence.
Yeah, good for
But,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, he was great when I was a child. Absolutely.
Mhm. I
That's
used to
awesome.
love watching them every day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad this is a great segue for, you're saying you're looking for more views for your YouTube channel. So
Mhm.
how does my audience find you? How do we connect with you so we can watch and enjoy what you're doing?
Okay. The name of my YouTube channel where you can find the Aunt Nae Nae Show, it's just my name, Megan Claire Murphy 2. That's the number 2. So that's Megan Claire Murphy 2. And I'm also on Facebook under the name Megan Claire Murphy. And we post a new episode once a week every Saturday morning on YouTube. So if you go on there and subscribe, you should get the notification when we post the new episode on every Saturday morning. And we've got some great things in store for the next couple of months. We've got a Thanksgiving special. We've got a December holiday special where we're gonna mention Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and I think that's all the December holidays, right? Anyway,
Yeah,
we're gonna do our research and figure it out, and we'll just celebrate all the December holidays, and then
that's
we're gonna
great.
do a separate episode to celebrate New Year's.
That's great. That is awesome. Well, Megan, thanks for coming on, telling your story. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Um, Before we go, though, I want to put you on a spot. How about before we go, take us out with one of your little skits you do for us in closing. Can you do that for us?
Okay,
Awesome.
I know it's not morning, but I'm gonna sing the song that got 54,000 views.
Sweet.
It's like a minute
Let's hear
long.
it.
Bear with me. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Are your hands and faces clean as mine? Good morning, everybody. I hope you're feeling fine. Say, how did you sleep last night? Did you say your prayers? Did you start the day right? Good morning, everybody. Are your hands and faces clean as your appetite as keen as your conscience as serene as mine? Hey, I know
Very
it's not
cool.
morning time, but that was the
Very
first
cool.
one that I thought of.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. I think that really, you were put on a spot. I asked you to do something real fast and you pulled it off.
Mhm.
Your studies show that you can do anything that you do. You're doing a great job.
Oh, that was just one of the Girl Scout camp songs. I've got all those songs. I can pull them out of my head like that.
Yeah,
I could
that's
sing them in
awesome.
my sleep.
That's great. Awesome. Well, Megan, thanks again for coming on to the QAC Team Podcast. It was a pleasure having you. Thanks for sharing your story and let's keep in touch.
Okay, thank you for having me. I
You're
enjoyed it.
very welcome. Take
Have a
care.
good day.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye.
You've been listening to the Q.A.C. Team podcast with your host, Charles Luttrell. Connect with us on the web at qacteam.com, TikTok at QAC Team, Facebook and Instagram at QAC.team. Thanks for your support.